guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new, welcome. My name's Monica. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking the Bridgerton novels based upon my least favorite to my favorite. So stay tuned. Okay, so if you know me, you know I am a big historical romance girly. I love historical romance, and I actually really enjoyed the TV show Bridgerton, despite it not holding to the books or to the historical time period. That is the thing with me. I like realness in that, but it works in this particular case, so we're gonna just go with it. I've read every single Bridgerton book. I've read them all in once, like for like a week and a half straight, a couple of years ago, and I have thoughts on all of them, but I wanted to rank them based upon the one that I like the least. So this would be number 8 to number 1, which is my favorite. And honestly, the first 3 literally interchanges depending on my mood because I love them all equally. So without further ado, let's get into the ranking. So the ranking at number 8, which is my absolutely least favorite one, is, and if you've been here at my channel for a hot minute, you know which one's coming, and that's Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. This is book 4. This is Colin and Penelope. I love Penelope. I think she's a fantastic character. I can't stand Colin Bridgerton. He is the Regency era frat boy. The way he treated Penelope before he left and then after he left. And even in the show for the 3rd season, I'm like, they're not saving his character. It's awkward and it's cringy, with the exception of like the carriage scene, the way we're supposed to think that he's this hot stud. I'm like, no. And he complains a lot about his station in life, that he's the 3rd son, so he has nothing to do. Well, dude, get something to do. And that's where Penelope comes in, because she inadvertently reads his well, I don't think it's inadvertent if I remember correctly, but she reads his journal, and she's like, you know what, you should be a writer. And he doesn't know that she's Lady Whistledown at this point, because it's different in the books than it is in the series, so nobody knows, not even Eloise, like in the TV show. I love Penelope's character. I love that she did Lady Whistledown. I think that's fantastic. She was a wallflower. Nobody paid attention to her, so she banked on it, which was great. I love that aspect of the story, and I really love her friendship with Eloise. And a lot of this felt like a bridge book also too, where you from the older siblings to the younger siblings. So that's another complaint for this book, because we find out that Francesca's married Lord Sterling, and she has gone to Scotland. Now, I just don't like Colin Bridgerton, and that's okay. I know a lot of people who do, and that's fine. For me, the only reason why I finished it was because of Penelope. So coming in at a very narrow number 7 is The Duke and I. This is book 1. This is Lord Hastings, or the Duke, and Daphne. And I did not care for the conflict. I did not care for the way he talked to Daphne, but my biggest gripe is that one scene, what Daphne does to him. It is not okay, and it was not okay that he lied to her, saying and played on her ignorance of how to make a baby, because he had to know. She did not know, because in that time, women did not know. They were not told until their wedding night. And most of the time, it's just like, lay there and think of England. So to me, that was a really flimsy conflict. And what she did was just downright sexual assault, which is not okay. And so I did not care for this. This was my least favorite book until I read Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. So coming in at number 6 is On the Way to the Wedding. This is Gregory's book, and the reason why it's not higher, now I gave this one like 3.5 stars, I think, if I remember correctly, it's been a while, is because he just fell in love a lot. Like he wanted Hermione, And so he maneuver a relationship with Hermione, with Lucy, and then there's just this back and forth. And I didn't feel like he was true to Lucy the way his feelings were. And that's just me, because I felt like he just was in love with being in love, if that makes any sense. So yeah, not my favorite, but it was a solid read. I enjoyed the plot, and I couldn't pick out anything that was glaringly wrong like I could with Romancing Mr. Bridgerton and The Duke and I. So coming in at number 5 is To Sir Philip with Love. This is Eloise's book. And Sir Philip is a widower, and his wife did commit suicide, and the way he treated his children, he ignored them for his plans, was not good. But he was looking for a wife to basically be a nanny, but he didn't want to pay a nanny, so he was looking for a wife. After his wife killed herself, Eloise started sending letters to him as a way to uplift their spirits in a matter of condolences. But then Sir Philip says, why don't you come and you can be my wife? And because they were corresponding back and forth. And so she does. She runs away from her family and goes to the country to meet Sir Philip. And the thing that I really enjoyed about this book was not so much the romance, because the romance grew on me, because I didn't like the way he really reacted to his kids, but the way Eloise and the kids reacted to each other and how their relationship grew, her as the stepmom, and how they began with pranks and stuff, and she could give it right back as good as they gave it to her, which was a lot of fun to see, a lot of fun to read. I like hijinks like that in my historical romances. They're a lot of fun, but also I liked the fact that there was a moment where Sir Philip was taken to task on his parenting, and he changed because of Eloise. So that is why I really I liked this book. It was a good book. So coming out number 4, and it's going to be a little controversial, but that's okay. But it's an offer from a gentleman. This is book 3, and this is Benedict's book, and it's because of Sophie. I love a good Cinderella retelling. You have to understand, at this time, in this period, he didn't think about a wife. He thought about a mistress, because she was not of the upper class, or so he thought, because she didn't tell him who her father was. And honestly, she couldn't, because of what happened with her stepmother. And this is sort of a second chance, because they met 2 years earlier when they were at a masquerade. Sophie would not let Benedict get away with this whole thing, like, you're gonna be my mistress. She's like, no, I'm not. I don't care. I love you, but I'm not being your mistress. And I love, like, Violet Bridgerton. She shined in this book. She took her son to task and be like, if you love her, marry her. And I loved how Violet really saved the day in this one. I really do. I thought it was fantastic. And that's why it is number 4. So like I said, the top 3 spots can interchange, but they're mostly staying the same. So coming in at number 3 for me is book 7, which is It's in His Kiss, and this is Hyacinth's book. We meet Gareth St. Clair, whose aunt is Lady Danbury, okay? And we get a lot of Smythe Smith, and if you know me, I love the Smythe Smiths. They are fantastic. They're horrible musicians, but they are fantastic. So Hyacinth goes to help Gareth look for some hidden jewelry that his estranged father has. So Gareth is going to be inheriting this estate, but he's fairly destitute at this point. And so, again, there's this hijinks where they break into his father's house to look for this jewelry. Lady Danbury encourages them, and I just loved it. And I loved how they grew as a couple when, as they were trying to find out where this jewelry is hidden. And it was so much fun. I really, really enjoyed this. I enjoy Hyacinth as a character. Hyacinth, if you want to know what Hyacinth like as a character, she is like the Eloise in the show. They basically based Eloise off of Hyacinth in the book. So I loved this. The banter was great, the joking, The ending was perfect, and of course you get Lady Danbury and the Smythe Smiths, and it was so good. It was one of the perfect books for me. Now coming at number 2, and it's honestly kind of tied for first with the first one, but number 2 is When He Was Wicked. This is book 6, and this is Michael and Francesca. Now I did say that Francesca was married to Lord Sterling, or John Sterling. John dies. Michael comes back from India, and he's the new Lord Sterling. She has had trouble conceiving. She's had miscarriages. There's a trigger for death of a spouse and infertility. This is the sexiest book of them all, because Michael has been in love with Francesca since he saw her before John saw her. And the pining in this book is so palpable. And the story is so sad because she loved John, but she also has this feeling for John's cousin, Michael. And it was just so well done, because you could feel her grief, you could feel her sorrow, then you could feel her wanting and not want to want John, and her wanting, and she doesn't want Michael, but then she just has to give in to her feelings. It was just so well done, and the character growth in this was so perfect, and I loved the scenes between Michael and Francesca. It was just one of the best written books in this series. And my favorite book, it was tied with When He Was Wicked, is book 2, which is The Viscount Who Loved Me, because of Kate Sheffield, but in the TV show she's Kate Sharma. So this one has so much of the iconic scenes. You have the Mallet of Death, so you have the Pall Mall scene. You also have the scene where he is helping her through a panic attack at the house party when they're in a library. Anthony was trying to get a wife and wanted to marry Edwina, which is Kate's younger sister, because she's the diamond of the season. However, Edwina did not fall in love with him. She was flattered by it, but Kate was adamantly against this because he's a rake. She's known that he was a rake, so she's like, I'm going to stop you from marrying my sister. And the only way Edwina would accept Anthony is if he had Kate's approval. And so he had to be charming to Kate, who basically was verbally vicious to him. The banter in this is just top notch, and it was sort of hate to love. And the bee scene is so iconic, and they didn't do it justice in the show, and I understand why they couldn't do it like that, because it would have looked weird. However, I really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed the trip from hate to love to frenemies to lovers, and it was also a marriage of convenience because they got caught in a precarious situation. And I just felt like this one is one of the best books that she has written because of the development of their feelings and the development of the romance and the pacing. So that's what I really look for in a good romance novel, even in historical, is the development, the pacing of the romance, the character development, separate and together. And I feel like When He Was Wicked and The Viscount Who Loved Me, and even It's in His Kiss, are the ones that she does it the best. And the characters are not problematic, and they're fantastic. So those are my rankings of the Bridgerton books. Let me know what your rankings are down below. I would love to know what's your favorite, what's your least favorite. And if you made it this far in this video and you want to let me know that you've been here, please leave me a bee emoji. And until next time, my friends, happy reading. And my cat is eating. Bye.